sad. Here you have someone pretending to be a tough guy turn out to be just a second banana for Joy Behar, the poster child for Trump derangement. Sadly, Bob is now just another gibbering, enfeebled ninny, surrounded by inept relatives as he frets about how Trump's in power, and he's not. See, Trump's rise coincides with De Niro's decline, and the person who knows it most is De Niro. He's a fine example of how not to turn loss into bitterness. There are plenty of people who don't like Trump, but don't let it warp their minds or their ability to speak aloud among grown-ups or The View. But the shifts and De Niros of the world are emotionally damaged by politics to a point where they can't even assess their own.
What if the most devastating takedown in recent television history didn't involve a single raised fist, a single raised voice, or even a single memorable insult? What if one of Hollywood's most celebrated tough guys walked onto a set expecting a coronation, and instead walked into something far more dangerous, a trap built entirely out of calm? Robert De Niro, 80 years of earned gravity, a filmography that reads like a syllabus for greatness. And yet, something had been quietly shifting. The legend was still in the room, but something had changed in the room's reaction to him. This is the story of how a smirk became a sledgehammer, and how one of America's most iconic screen presences handed a comedian the greatest material of his career, live, unscripted, and completely by accident.
A confused man went missing in New York. Luckily, a band of self-satisfied elitists found him babbling on the street, threw some pants on him, gave him a stage.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
There's a specific kind of tragedy in watching a man built for silence choose noise instead. De Niro didn't just once command a room, he used to own the silence before anyone spoke, the kind of presence where other actors adjusted their posture when he entered a scene. But something had been corroding that image for years, quietly in the background, like water damage behind expensive wallpaper. By the time he started making the cable news rounds, the erosion was visible. And when America watched this particular appearance unfold, the reaction wasn't outrage, it wasn't reverence, it was something more uncomfortable, recognition. The recognition that the armor had cracked and everyone could see through it now.
Niro graced the knitting circle in hell known as The View, where he tried to link random thoughts into a sentence. Joy was there to wind him up, since he's played some of the most unredeemable characters.
You have played some of the most really unredeemable characters. Travis Bickle. Travis Bickle was a psychopathic taxi driver.
That's true.
Jake LaMotta, who used to beat his wife, and he was in the Raging Bull. Is Trump worse than they are?
Nobody scouted Greg Gutfeld for this moment. That's the part history tends to overlook. He didn't arrive as a challenger. He didn't arrive swinging. He arrived the way a good satirist always does. Underestimated, unhurried, and fully loaded with something far more precise than anger. Sarcasm at its highest level isn't cruelty, it's diagnosis. And Gutfeld had spent years quietly sharpening his blade while the cultural establishment dismissed him as a punchline. So when the moment arrived, when a man dripping in Hollywood mythology sat across from him and started performing indignation, Gutfeld simply waited. Let the performance run. And then, with the relaxed confidence of someone who already knew the ending, he began to take it apart, one thread at a time.
An actor is tough. For how does one handle real life without a script? Not equipped to think analytically, you're left powerless when observing your own predictions about life turn out wrong. It's not supposed to be this way, De Niro thinks. Only the cool guys get to win. Sorry, Bob. That's only in the movies. But at least you'll always have...
Here's what the cameras captured that nobody wanted to name directly. The gap. The enormous, uncomfortable gap between the image De Niro was projecting and the reality everyone could plainly see. He was framing himself as a voice of the people, a man tapped into something real, something urgent. But that framing had a problem. It had always had a problem. Because the working-class fury he was performing came packaged in a lifestyle that exists at a distance from working-class reality most people can't even imagine. And Gutfeld understood, perhaps better than anyone in that room, that an audience can forgive almost anything except inauthenticity. You can be wrong, you can be loud, you can even be unlikable, but the moment you pretend to be something you aren't, you lose them. And De Niro had lost them.
Me. Talk about persuasive. Really, I was on the fence about Trump, but then I decided to really listen to one of the great generational leaders of American pop culture, and the clenched fist at the end, that really drove it home. It looked like he was pressing a 2-pound weight in a Jenny Craig commercial.
Oh my God.
Look at it again. It's so cute. It's like he found out the restaurant serves Jell-O, or that he won a $10 scratch-off, or he scored a cameo in Jersey Shore, or he had his first #2.
This is where the architecture of the whole thing becomes visible. De Niro wasn't being outsmarted by a better argument. He was being undone by contrast. Every gesture that was supposed to read as passion read instead as theater. Every statement designed to land with moral weight landed with the hollow thud of a rehearsed speech. And Gutfeld didn't need to debunk any of it. He just needed to hold up a mirror to the performance and let the audience decide what they were looking at. That's the particular genius of what happened. The deconstruction was invisible. There was no debate, no counter-argument, no competing manifesto. Just steady, amused observation. And under that kind of gaze, the most carefully constructed image eventually does the one thing it was never supposed to do. It collapses inward.
Poor Bob. You know, he's like a star whose girlfriend dumps him for a bigger star who's in the White House while you're in Dirty Grandpa. Oh, man. So now the resistance is reduced to applauding tantrums. Who knew De Niro's lasting role would be irrelevant gas bag, pleasing irrelevant peers? And he's doing this as Trump organizes a summit. Not a war, a summit. And you got to wonder, if it were President Hillary, Bob's choice, would you actually have a summit, or would you have a war? But forget deeds. What matters is adulation received from an emotional display before a packed sea of millionaire lemmings. So who cares that Trump meets with North Korea? It's no meet the parents, right?
Let's be precise about what made this moment so culturally sticky. It wasn't the jokes. It wasn't even the wit, as sharp as it was. It was the calm. Because in an era of maximum volume, where every opinion comes screaming at you in all caps, someone who can dismantle a legend without raising their heart rate becomes something rare, something almost unsettling. De Niro clearly expected friction. He was built for friction, trained in it, celebrated for it across decades of roles that demanded exactly that kind of heat. But Gutfeld gave him none of it. Just cool air and quiet amusement. And without friction to push against, all that energy had nowhere to go. It just sat there in front of everyone, burning fuel with nothing to burn toward. The audience felt it, and they couldn't look away.
Clearly has thought about this, more so than his career. His choice of roles is now down to cinnamon and lobster. He was then asked about the Trump kids. At least he doesn't want my kids to take this the wrong way.
I don't want my kids to take this the wrong way, but if my kids did what these kids did, I wouldn't want to be related to them. I would just...
But here's the layer that got under people's skin in a way the jokes alone never could. This was a man whose entire career was built on inhabiting other people's truths, on studying human contradiction so precisely that he could translate it into something audiences felt in their bones. And yet somehow, standing outside a character for once, operating as himself, he couldn't locate the very self-awareness his best performances had always depended on. The irony wasn't cruel. It was just there, plain and visible. Gutfeld didn't need to manufacture it. He just had to point. Because when a man whose life's work was understanding human nature fails to understand his own public unraveling in real time, the commentary writes itself.
Bad end for a great actor. He went from Raging Bull, to this. You know, De Niro kind of represents Hollywood in the sense that they realize that they're losing influence with the public, and that's what's generating the emotional response. They've never felt less.
What happened next is the part that separated this from a simple celebrity roast. Because the audience started doing something unexpected. They started connecting dots. Gutfeld wasn't just commenting on De Niro, he was contextualizing something people had been sensing without a language to describe it. This slow, steady retreat of cultural authority from the institutions that used to hold it. Hollywood had spent years assuming its credibility was structural, built into the walls, permanent. And here was a comedian, with no Oscar and no mythology behind him, demonstrating in real time that credibility isn't inherited. It's earned, fresh, in every single room you walk into. De Niro had walked into this room carrying credentials, and the room hadn't cared.
Let's go to, I think he was in Canada, Toronto, opening a restaurant or doing something. And this is what he had to say.
And I just want to make a note of apology for the idiotic behavior of my president. It's a disgrace. And I apologize to Justin Trudeau and the other people at the G7. It's disgusting.
You know, I actually feel bad for him because I think he's one of those people that has never been emotionally recovered from 2016. This is a guy who's got serious Trump.
And that's the part that doesn't make the highlight reel but defines the whole encounter. The audience response, not the roaring kind, not the polarized kind that splits into two furious factions online, just the quiet, slightly embarrassed kind, the laughter with an undertone of discomfort, the kind that says, we know what we're watching and we're not sure we're supposed to enjoy it this much. That specific reaction is almost impossible to manufacture. You can't engineer it. It only happens when something real punches through the performance. And in that moment, under the fluorescent logic of Gutfeld's commentary, something very real had punched through. The legend had become human, and not in the transcendent, vulnerable way great actors sometimes do. In the smaller, quieter, more permanent way.
I find that he's smartest when they drop his audio. But, you know, it's kind of sad because you can see, like, people who are stuck in some kind of, I don't know, arrangement, they can't see it themselves. And they're not surrounded by people telling them that they have a problem. And they lack self-awareness because everybody either tells them they're wonderful or wants to sell them cocaine. So he has no clue what he's doing. And he's upset over the emotional nature. His anger is emotional about Trump. It's nothing.
Step back from the individual moment, and the larger picture snaps into focus. This wasn't a story about one actor and one comedian. It was a story about a tectonic shift in who gets to hold cultural authority in America, and why. For decades, fame operated as a kind of credibility by default. You were famous, therefore your opinions carried weight. The platform generated the trust. But that equation had been quietly failing for years, and nobody in the rooms where it was failing seemed to notice. Until nights like this one, when someone with no traditional credibility at all, no legacy, no mythology, no award-season biography, sat down across from someone with all of it and simply asked better questions. The spotlight doesn't follow the resume anymore, it follows the signal. And on this night, De Niro had lost the signal.
Sell his movies on Leno and Letterman, and it was like watching a WNBA game. You just were bored to death. And all of a sudden, Trump became president, and he started saying things. I want to punch the president in the face. You know, he's a crooked piece of... And then all of a sudden, De Niro became interesting during his media tours. And that's the only way now he can get publicity for his film, is by cursing.
When it was done, there was no ceremonial ending. No dramatic final exchange. The moment simply concluded the way most genuinely significant moments do, without announcing themselves as significant. Gutfeld didn't spike the football. He didn't need to, because the most durable victories in the cultural arena aren't the ones you declare. They're the ones people carry out with them, replaying quietly on the way home, sharing with someone the next morning, still thinking about 3 days later. De Niro arrived as a monument. He left as a conversation. And Gutfeld, the guy nobody had assigned this role to, the one the establishment never saw coming, walked out having done something deceptively simple and almost impossibly rare. He told the truth in a room full of performance. And the truth, as it tends to, outlasted everything else.